Thani. Obviously, we have paid a lot of attention to the Ukrainian topic. We have told how this crisis was coming about for years, while our Western counterparts who took patronage on the Kievan regime just stood by idly, doing nothing. And we also told how the special military operation to protect Donbas citizens from the direct military threat is being carried out. How do we try to resolve the issues of demilitarization, denazification, including during the negotiations that were initiated last week and are still ongoing, and Belarus now via video link. And I also told about my meeting with the Foreign Minister of Ukraine, Mr. Kuleba, in Antalya, Turkey. We also talked about the attention paid by the Russian representatives to the resolving humanitarian issues, opening humanitarian corridors to evacuate civilians from the conflict zone. And we also talked about the humanitarian aid that we deliver their medical supplies, other essential supplies for the population of the respective areas in Ukraine. We appreciate the participation of the Qatari leadership, the attention that they draw to this situation, and we appreciate that Qatar tries and wants to do what it can to help to come to an agreement regarding the matters that are on the agenda now, considering the interests of the pan-European security, including the security of Ukraine, as well as security of Russia, and considering the need to make it so that no threats were posed from the territory of Ukraine for the Russian Federation, for the people who want to protect Russian language, Russian culture, Russian traditions, including traditions of the Russian Orthodox Church, and also for the people who want to live in the country without any discrimination against, especially if this discrimination is related to the neo-Nazi manifestations. I think that both of us found this kind of conversation useful, and we have agreed on this issue because, once again, we appreciate a lot the interest shown by Qatar to facilitate achieving the needed results. We have talked about our bilateral ties that are developing consistently, which is in the long-term interests of both our states. We have agreed on the additional steps that we are going to take to continue the positive dynamic of the trade turnover, to develop the investment cooperation between our countries in accordance with the agreements reached by President of the Russian Federation and the Emir of Qatar. This year in Doha, we are supposed to have a regular meeting of the Russian-Qatar Commission on the trade, economical, and technical cooperation. We have good prospects also, and we share mutual interest in continuing to coordinate our policy on the energy market, global energy market, including within the OPEC and gas exporters organization. And the Russian Fund of Direct Investment is working with the Qatar Investment Agency, implementing the whole package of the joint projects. Traditionally, we work closely together regarding the issues that persist in the Middle East and in the north of Africa, because the conflict potential in this area is high. The danger of escalation of the current crisis is still high. As for Syria, we stand for full-scale, comprehensive implementation of the resolution of the Security Council 2254. We talked about how the Astana format activity looks like now. So the new regular meeting of the Troika, of the trilateral group, is going to take place soon with the participation of the Syrian parties as well. And we also remember about the interest shown by Qatar to cooperate with Russia and Turkey in regards of facilitating the resolution of the humanitarian problem within the Syrian Arab Republic. Recently, in the Russian Federation, we had Mr. Pedersen, special envoy of the Secretary General on the Syrian issue. I also met him last Thursday in Antalya. We have reaffirmed our plans to renew the work of the Constitutional Committee end of this month in Geneva, and obviously we need to increase the humanitarian help for the Syrian population, including with the implementation of the project of the so-called early recovery, early restoration. What I mean is restoring the power supply, healthcare services, residential construction efforts, and educational efforts. All the members of the Security Council supported this resolution, but for the time being, it is being implemented slowly. And under the edges of the UN, we try to draw the attention of international organizations towards it and the attention of donors that are supposed to implement this request, this appeal from the Security Council. We also work on facilitation of the Libyan conflict. We have some complications there, witnessing some complications there. During the working breakfast, we are going to talk more about that. And both Russia and Qatar stand for the prompt consolidation of the international efforts to resume Israeli-Palestinian talks to resolve the key issues of the final status of the Palestine state and the key issues of the comprehensive peaceful settlement. And I would like to talk here about the special significance of restoring the Palestinian unity. Russia and Qatar can and try to help with resolving this essential task. Afghanistan, after the foreign military contingents were withdrawn from there, it also attracts attention and it requires daily attention from the international community. Qatar plays an important role along with other actors, also in funding the humanitarian programs in the country, that the population of this country that suffered so much needs so badly. So you can see we have quite a big agenda, and today's talks allowed us to make significant progress in looking for our mutual opportunities to help with resolving numerous problems of the modern world. I thank my counterpart for the good work that we did. My today's visit to Moscow is happening in a very difficult international situation because the entire world is now watching. We have talked substantively about the situation in Ukraine, about the confrontation there, and also about the negotiations that are taking place in Belarus. We discussed all the aspects of the situation, including the humanitarian aspect. I tried to explain to the minister that common sense should prevail and we should try to find a peaceful solution via diplomacy for this crisis. And the minister told me about the outcomes of the latest consultations on settlement of the situation in Ukraine, and I also shared my contacts with the European and international counterparts on resolving the situation, because we are all interested in seeing this crisis resolved peacefully as soon as possible to bring back people to their homes. The state of Qatar is not going to spare any efforts regarding expediting the settlement of the situation in Ukraine in concerted efforts with international partners, because Qatar always tries to settle all the conflicts via diplomacy under the UN Charter and under the principles of international law. We always stand for resolving all the crisis situation in accordance with these documents. No force should be allowed, no sovereign integrity should be violated, and also there should be no violation against the religious and cultural freedoms. We have also talked about certain aspects of the regional situation. We talked about the Iranian nuclear accord and the Vienna talks. Thank you. And also we talked about Afghan dossier. Thank you so much, Minister.